Just
I see you live.
awesome. Okay, ladies, I am going to go to music, and I think we've got all our ducks in a row. I just saw your tweet come through, so that's good. Can we make sure we do one after 8 o'clock as well?
Yes, you want one about 8:05?
Yeah. Just as a reminder, and then let's get this party started.
All right, you look beautiful.
Oh, aren't you kind? Thank you. All right, ladies, see you later.
Okay.
Let go, let me go. To take a leading role in your finances. Yes.
We're joined right now by author of the financial self-help book, A Purse of Your Own.
Deborah Owen, she wrote it. She's the mastermind behind this easy guide, and she's here now.
Women often get started later. We take care of everyone else, and we don't put anything into our purse.
Look at your neighbor and tell her, I'm prepared to prosper. Yes.
Author and wealth coach Deborah Owens uses powerful personal stories, humor, and the purse to show women how to manage their money.
I often hear women say, well, I don't do numbers. Well, the fact of the matter is we are responsible for 90% of the buying decisions in households.
What I believe is each one of you in this room has the power. And so I am calling on you to take action.
Growth often comes disguised as adversity, when in fact, it is a gift that's being given to you so that you can grow.
Problems are opportunities. And what I want our viewers to understand is you don't need to react to short-term volatility.
I'm really looking forward to hearing what Deborah has to say.
My advice to Neville, start investing in that SEP IRA now. We need to shift, Roland. We need to shift from what I call this income mindset to a wealth mindset. And what that means is focusing on our personal balance sheet and making sure that our net worth is going up.
So if there is anyone sitting in this audience who believes I'm not smart enough, I don't have any money, kick all those doubts to the side.
I think truly the goal for every woman should be financial freedom. And that's when I don't have to work because my money is working for me.
All of you sitting in this room have the ability to create the wealth and to achieve financial freedom. You simply have to decide.
Well, good evening, ladies. Good evening. Good evening. Come on in here, y'all. We family now, because it's day 3 of the 5-day Savvy Money Makeover Challenge. And that is very, very true. You just have to decide. I thought that deserved a replay because the audio was not on. Let's make sure that we mute everyone. We make sure everybody's muted. So good evening, everyone. Let's see who's muted, who's not muted, and make sure they are muted. Yes. Okay, well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 5-day Savvy Money Makeover Challenge. Who's in the house so I can give you some shout outs and where do you hail from? I see Latasha is back. Latasha, I remember your name because I was looking at the women who were saying that when we opened the door that they were running through. And if I'm not mistaken, you were one of them. So good evening, everyone. Come on in. Let's get this party started. It is day three. Before we get started, I want to know who has been here all 3 days. Ladies, if you've been here all 3 days, say all 3 days. Hello, Sharon Gregory from New Jersey. You also said you were going to run through the door when we open these doors. Good evening. Lauren's been here all 3 days. Who else has been here all 3 days? Sharon Gregory, all 3 days. Shelby Dunstan, all 3 days. Let's see who else. Linda Walker, all 3 days. Diane, all 3 days. Lurleen Lowe, all 3 days. Martha Malden, all 3 days. Lastancia Spate, all 3 days. Leaning in. Well, what I want you all to know is that the women who accelerate the fastest and get the furthest, that's exactly what they do. They lean all 3 days. And I want to give a shout out for those of you who are already members of the WealthyU Society, of the Sisterhood, and you're leaning in, because what I will say, I love it. Lauren is your daughter, Paula. That's right, because it's all about generational wealth. Hey, Lauren, your mother certainly has been leaning in, and I'm so glad that you're here, because it really is all about making sure that we acquire this knowledge and that we pass it on, because we've covered a lot these past 3 days. So before I even get started, I want you to put in the chat if you found your money, because yesterday it was all about cleaning out your purse and finding the money. Who's got your money, so that we can put it back in that purse and make it grow. So if you did your homework, it was our Savvy Money Makeover, and you were supposed to take out your statements and look at how you were going to reposition those dollars so they're fully filling up your purse. You heard in some of our testimonials, our videos, we have women, it doesn't matter what amount you found. It does not matter what amount you found. It just matters that you did the homework and you did the exercise. Lauren, that's great. I'm glad you are proud of your mom, because that's what we do. We model the behavior, and we know that if we model it, that our children are going to model it as well. Of course, you heard that from a number of our ambassadors that you met. So how many of you found the money? And if you did, in the chat, let me know, how much did you find? Did you find $100 that you're going to put toward your future, $200, $300, $400? Let us see what you found if you did the exercise. Excellent, because that is exactly what this is about. Yesterday's exercise was about show me the money. Who is ready to go higher? Who's ready to go higher? If you're ready to go higher, tell me I'm ready to go higher. Next level. Who is ready to go to the next level? In the chat, let me know if you're ready to go to the next level, because I want to level set all of us. All right, Martha. Let's give Martha some claps and some high fives. $500 to $700. That's right. Sharon's ready to go higher. Linda's ready to go higher. Well, that's where we're going, next level. But before we go to the next level, one of the things I want to do for all of you, because some of you made it all 3 days, some of you may have made it all 2 days. If you made it 2 days in the chat, tell me 2 days. And if this is your first day, it's all right, because we have all of the replays in the Facebook group, and there is nothing like being motivated to go to the next level. So just for a moment, let's take a look at where we've been and where we're going. Day one, it was all about making the shift to the wealth mindset, and that's really understanding that problems are opportunities and that wealthy people do the exact opposite of what we're told. They don't fear the market volatility or things going up and down. They lean into it, and that's how they acquire wealth. Day two was your 7-figure financial makeover, and it was finding extra cash flow within your current budget to reposition that money. Today, it's all about accelerating your financial growth to 7 figures and beyond, and you learning about investment opportunity levers. And so we're in day 3, and now it's time to go higher. Now, here's what I want you to know. If you saw that reel, you see that I've been on this mission for over 2 decades. And that mission is to help 1 million women get to $1 million in net worth. And all I want to tell you is, starting out, I didn't necessarily know. As you see, I started out touring with Bishop Jakes. I wrote a few critically acclaimed books. Simon & Schuster and Pearson & Macmillan were my publishers, and my goal really was to financially empower 1 million women. But in 2015, we launched WealthyU with the sole purpose of now taking the insight and knowledge that I had learned being in those high net worth rooms, and learning that the information that we were given, because we did not have high net worth, we weren't exposed to it. And as I shared with you earlier, my son said to me, Mom, he was like, listen, if you're going to be known as the wealth coach, coaching is personal, and people need accountability and support. And that's when we launched WealthyU. But the question that had not been quite answered yet was, could I put together a system, a framework that would teach women how to accelerate their financial growth to 7 figures and beyond? And so I launched purse groups in my church, and then I launched WealthyU, and one of the first women to join my purse group, join WealthyU for private coaching, join the WealthyU Society, continue to lean in. And one day I got a text, and all that text said was, I am one of the million with 1 million. Let's hear her story.
On the next Get Wealthy, the inspiring story of Belinda Edwards.
I am an emotional spender. I didn't want to live to just pay my credit card bills.
The change in her mindset and beliefs around money propelled her into the top 10% of African American wealth.
With your help, I've been able to improve my returns on investment and able to share your knowledge and expertise with others.
Watch Get Wealthy right here, only on Black Star Network.
So there's nothing like a dream being realized and a dream coming true. So what I want you to know is living proof. And what I also want you to know is that if it can happen for her, it can happen for you. Because since then, we have had hundreds of women reach their first 6 figures, their first 7 figures, and now some of them are running for 8. So the question I have for you is, are you going to be one of the million with the million? If you're going to be one of the million with the million, I want you to claim it in the chat and say, I'm going to be one of the million with the million. I'm going to be like Belinda, who is ready to follow the model that all of the women that you've seen along with our ambassadors, have been able to apply. If that's you, I want to raise your hand and say, that's me in the chat. Let me see. That's right. Nadine says, I'm going to be one of the million with a million. I'm going to be like Belinda. That's right. Frida says, that's me. That's me. Now, here's what I want you to know is, yesterday, I said we were going to open these doors to our WealthyU Society that was responsible for Belinda achieving that and many other women that you see on my program Get Wealthy. But it all begins with you applying. And so one of the things I want all of you who are here today, is now you're going to run through. And you're going to go to, and we're going to put it in the chat, all of you, the first step is applying to WealthyU so that we know that we have a great fit in WealthyU, especially designed for you. So in the chat, I want all of you to simply fill, that's the first, we're opening the doors, but the first step is filling out the application. Let's put that link in the chat. It's just a bit.ly link, WealthyU apply. bit.ly, bit.ly/WealthyU apply. Let's put that in the chat. I want everyone, just take that link, go right in and apply. That's the first step. Now, here's the other thing I want you guys to know is that we already have women who are already ready to run through the door as soon as I share the link to joining our WealthyU Society program, which is how all of the women in WealthyU have been able to accomplish the types of success that they have. It all begins with you understanding what your unique investment opportunity levers are. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. That is the assignment. And so I just reviewed, but also before I go any further, you're going to fill out that application. And then you're going to also connect with your ambassadors. If you didn't see the session last night, they gave their stories. Michelle Smith, Virginia Rutherford Hall, Anita Jenkins, Suzanne Belcher Boyd, Lynette Reynolds, and Brigitte Yvette Roquette. Now, if you haven't met your ambassador, just in the chat, tell them I need to connect with my ambassador, because they're going to make sure that you have everything you need to be successful. So again, everyone, I don't care if you're sitting on the fence or if you know you want to run through, it all begins with filling out that application. And I want you to do that right now, because later on, I am going to ambassadors. Lauren and Rashida need to connect with their ambassadors. Take a look and make sure that you introduce yourself and connect with them. So that's where we are starting. Okay, so Belinda talked a little bit about the fact that she was an emotional spender, and that it wasn't until she learned how to increase the returns on her investment that she really was able to catapult into that and accelerate her financial growth. But to be honest with you, she started where many of you are. And the reason that I want to go deeper into her story is because I want you to understand how, when you apply the concepts that we talked about. So the first thing she said, she was an emotional spender. What was the point that I made? She had to change her mindset. That's where from a wealth to and from an income to a wealth mindset. And then she had to take her money and redirect. And it's funny, usually Belinda is taking the Savvy Money Makeover Challenge because she's taking it over and over again. And the point is, the women that really lean in, those are the women that get the further the fastest. But the first thing that she needs to understand, and this is our assignment tonight, is how to accelerate her financial growth, those wealth acceleration strategies. And so this is what I want you to know. What I'm going to teach you tonight, you're going to be exposed to the kinds of strategies that high net worth clients are exposed to that many times you're never even shown. And so right now, I want to make sure you take out your worksheet. And we've just put that worksheet in the chat so you can download the worksheet. And this is going to be your homework for tonight. The only thing standing between you and the financial success you desire and deserve really is access to this knowledge. And that is what the 5-day Savvy Money Makeover Challenge is about. It's about me sharing with you the insight that I learned by being in those wealthy circles. And then finding out when I came out of the industry was that many of you have been reaching out for assistance from these financial institutions for help, and not even knowing that you weren't even given access to these strategies. So the question I have for you, many of you, have you reached out? Have you sat down with a financial advisor? Have you tried to sit down with someone and ask them, you know, what you can do? What are the strategies that you were having? No one ever followed up, reached out to you. Let me ask you in the chat, has that happened to you? Have you been searching and trying to get access to this information and not being given access to it? And so one of the reasons you're here tonight is because you've been searching for that knowledge, right? Have you reached out to get the information and haven't gotten access to some of the concepts that you're hearing during our 5-day Savvy Money Makeover Challenge? If you can relate to that, in the chat, say, yes, I can relate to that. I've been trying to figure out how I can accelerate my financial growth, but somehow when I reach out, I'm never given access to it. Well, to be honest with you, that's exactly the experience that Belinda had. And we're going to go deeper into her experience in just a minute. But before we do, one of the things I want you to understand is that you cannot be afraid, right? And so if you recall, one of the things that I shared with you in the first day is the fact that wealthy people do the opposite as most people. And I discovered that actually very early in my career, right around here. So like I said, I'm not new to this, I'm true to this. And so with one of the first declines where the market fell 20%, sitting in that office, I saw that people like you and me, we panicked and we sold our investments when the market went down. But what I saw with our high net worth and wealthy people, they were sitting with their private banker, with some of our highest paid stockbrokers is what they were called at the time. And they were selling. I mean, they were buying investments, stocks that had went down in value, they were picking up as much as they could afford. And so the point of what I want you to understand is that it is volatile times that allow you to buy assets as lower prices. And what I want you to see is, so this is the dot-com bubble. Remember when that burst? Down, right? Back up, the global financial crisis, and then down, and then back up. But what I want you to see overall is that the trend is up. And so if you begin to apply the strategies that the wealthy do, you're going to be picking up investments, turning your income into assets, accumulating assets so that your money can grow. So that's the first concept we learned, but I want you to see it over the long term so that you can see that this is the S&P 500, the trend, it went from here to here. And so what the wealthy know that most people don't is that you can't be fearful about economic volatility. You must lean into it. But it's not that you lean into it and that you hear people say, oh, stocks are on sale. Not all stocks. So what you have to be able to do is to analyze and research and find the diamonds in the rubble, right? And you have to understand not only is it important to invest, but what's also important is that you understand strategies and then learn how to put your money to work over time. Is this making sense to you? In the chat, let me know if this is making sense to you. That's right. Nadine says, I read somewhere Warren Buffett said, when people are greedy, be fearful, and when people are afraid, be greedy. That's exactly right. But one of the point, Frida says, crystal clear. Okay, so what I said, I wanted you guys to understand that we're going higher in terms of concepts. And so one of the other things, one of the other concepts that I was exposed to was the fact that the wealthy, they have all kinds of, they're exposed to all kinds of different accounts that allow them to build wealth over time. And so foundationally, it really starts with making sure you got that financial foundation, that you have that emergency fund, but not only emergency fund, but also that you have a job mobility fund, right? Meaning many of you are sitting in roles, and the reason that you're sitting in them is not because you're flourishing or you're getting pay raises, you're afraid to move. Am I relating it? Is this making sense to you? And so foundationally, high net worth people know the importance of either having a job mobility or starting a business. And starting a business is one of the ways they really leverage tax advantages. And then the next aspect of it is then taking advantage of all of the investment levers and opportunities that they have through their employer or creating it by starting a business. And then the next level up from that is being able to take advantage of all the deferred comp and tax deferred and tax advantaged programs, because it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. And I have this conversation with so many of our members because some are just, so many of you are so focused on not losing that you can't gain. And then the next strategies are backdoor, what are called backdoor Roths and backdoor IRAs. And then a step up from there, a step up from there, a step up from there till you get to the top. And then you're really talking about estate planning strategies so that you can pass that money from generation to generation without paying taxes. And so what I began to understand is that, wow, I had never heard of these strategies at all. But what I also got knowledge of was the fact that in order for you to get access to these strategies, they have to view you as high net worth, and high net worth means that you already have investable assets of $1 million or more. Now, I'll be honest with you, to me, it didn't make sense. You know, why do the wealthy get access to these strategies and the people that most need it don't? Why do you think that happens? So Nadine says, I've heard of these strategies, however, never how to use them. That's exactly right. And the truth is that you can use these at whatever level. The truth is that you need to identify what your investment opportunity levers are based on where you are at what stage you're in. Are you working for an organization that is going to allow you to have a 401k, is going to do matching, it has employee stock purchase programs, has other programs that will allow you to expand into self-directed investing. You have an opportunity to invest in an IRA and do a backdoor IRA. But the most important thing is you have to begin to understand what is available to you, because here's the most important thing that you need to all understand. And that is that many of you are basically 10 feet away from gold, but because you've never been given the knowledge, you don't even know what to see. If you don't even know it's there, if that sounds familiar to you, in the chat, let me know if you feel like you're close, or that there's something else that you should be doing, or that there's something that you're not taking advantage of. If you're like you're 10 feet away from gold, put I'm 10 feet away from gold and I'm going to figure out how to get to it. Because most of you are. Now, I thought it was important though, 10 feet away from gold, that's right. I thought it was important though, however, who's ready to see exactly how Belinda was able to accelerate go from bouncing checks, literally, to being in the top 10% of African American wealth? Who's ready to hear how she did that? So I want you to listen closely and listen to the strategies she learned in WealthyU and how she applied them.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, Deborah. Good morning. I am a person who loved computers and everything that I could learn. And so I chased my dreams to be in IT, and I've been blessed to work in this industry for over 30 years. What I didn't learn was finance. And so with your help, I've been able to improve my returns on investment and able to share your knowledge and expertise with others. I did not feel that my previous financial advisor was working in my best interest. So quite frankly, my strategy was to take advantage of the opportunity to meet with you. By meeting with you and doing my homework, I was able to then learn through analyzing the mutual funds that I was placed in, to also analyze some of the other products that I was that were proposed to me, I was able to determine that they were not in my best interest by either there wasn't a significant return, or more importantly, it was increased fees. So quite frankly, my mindset was changed because I knew as I aged, I knew I needed more. I did use some of the techniques that was on the platform that my employer had, and I saw that I wasn't really prepared. One of the first things I did was, again, to take advantage of the relationship my employer has with an investment company. And I met with their representative in order to assess the performance of my portfolio. And then I received some recommendations that they provided, but I had to do my own research before I made any changes. From the classes, especially the Wind Down Wednesdays that you have, I was able to analyze the performance of my mutual funds via the performance and also fees. Those are the two criteria that I used. From there, I then assessed the amount of fees that were applied to each of the mutual funds, and then I determined which ones I thought would be best for me. From there, I started watching, quite frankly, it started on a daily basis, then it morphed to weekly and then monthly, because as you know, you can't, investment is a long-term game. And so you can't make arbitrary moves. You need to wait and watch and see what happens to your portfolio. If there is a concern where one of the products within your portfolio is not performing correctly, then that might be a good time to move. But as we say, it's best to buy low and sell high. So you have to take into consideration the overall market performance prior to making any selections and changes to your portfolio. Best impacts are my accountability partners, because we are able to talk about money in a very common, safe, productive way. And if you make a mistake, that's okay. You learn from those mistakes and you keep it moving, quite frankly. And so when I'm feeling nervous, there are women like yourself, Deborah, that I can reach out to say, I'm really concerned about the performance of my portfolio. Should I move some things? You know, what would you do? Provide some recommendations. And then I go back and do my own research, because of course, my portfolio is my portfolio. That is the biggest impact that has occurred, not only to me, but just my family as well. My position and the ability to help my parents when needed, but also to prepare for whatever happens in retirement in my next stage of life. So last year, my parents and I were extremely ill. Thanks to the shift in mindset, I was able to financially weather our storm, to provide financial support to my parents when I could, but also I was able to care for myself where I didn't feel the pain. And so that financially, I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was still just saving. And so I appreciate that. The trade-off from my fear and taking a risk was that I was able to be there when the time was needed my presence, both physically and financially. So that was my biggest takeaway.
The reason I wanted you to hear Belinda's story in her own way and how she took this information and applied it was there were a bunch of different nuggets in there. So in the chat, what is your takeaway? What did you learn from Belinda's recap of how she was able to accelerate her financial growth? I just want to hear if you were listening, especially going back to the point that I was making about how you're not given access to this information. But when you actually learn how to analyze and research on your own and you're empowered, the power that gives you. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes, or a couple of seconds. What were some of your takeaways in the chat? What did Belinda say that she learned that had such a significant impact on her success? I want to see if you, because it's powerful. That's right, Linda. She took risk. She said what she learned was she had to give up her fear so that she could have the kind of that allowed her to now be in the position that she was, to not only take care of herself but her family. That's right, Latanya. She learned how to analyze and research her current investments. And listen, ladies, that's the most powerful thing, because that's how your money can grow more rapidly. As the point that I made is, many of you would already be at 7 figures and beyond if you were able to apply the knowledge like Belinda. Let's see what else. She learned and evaluated and adjusted. That's exactly right, Kai. And that's the point. She became an active learner of her portfolio. She learned the fees and earnings, which helped her to make decisions. That's exactly right. One of the things you learn in WealthyU is how to analyze certain criteria and understand and because you're paying lower fees, that means ultimately your money is going to grow faster. Diane, that's right. Best time to sell, buy low and sell high. And she gained a trade-off, and you kept hearing her talk about making the shift from income to wealth. Nadine says she was a financially stable professional, however, but the financial strategies wasn't there. And that is so true for many of you. She became involved in the process, and I could hear in her voice the most important desire to be there for her parents. And that's the most important thing. It's more than the money. It's the ability to weather financial storms, because we all know that anything can happen. We can get ill. Our parents can get ill. We could lose a job. We hear about layoffs. What I want you to know is the reason this is so important. And this is it, ladies. The reason this is so important is because it then, as you saw with Belinda, she was able to weather that side and come out on the other side weather the storm and come out on the other side without feeling pain. And Venus, absolutely, she also had a coach. So here's the other thing I think you heard, and I want you to understand in WealthyU, we're opening the doors today, is the most important thing in WealthyU is the circle. It's the sisterhood. You heard her say it's a safe place. When you're fearful, you have somewhere you can go with like-minded women who can encourage you, inspire you to stay the course. And the reason they can inspire you to stay the course is because they did too. Okay, so the point I want to make, the reason I wanted you to hear Belinda's interview and why she was able to go from bouncing checks and not having enough to having more than enough is because she put the power of acceleration strategies to work for herself. So I want to go to why this is so important. So once you know those strategies, then you have to know how to put those strategies to work. And so the truth is that the average investor earns about 2% over time. And the difference between you being in a fixed investment, being in those what are called target date funds, is it's much more difficult for your money to grow. So look at the difference of compounding. So this is $1,000 a month invested at 2%. 2 years, you just get to 200,000. Whereas the difference between earning savings account or investing in large company stocks and investing in more aggressive funds, it's the difference between you having $1 million at retirement versus a few $100,000. I want to illustrate in a way that I think is even more powerful. And this is the point of this chart, is it shows you that when you don't earn a higher rate of return, this is how you get to $1 million. You increase the amount you're investing and you increase the return that you're getting. And it's a function of, it doesn't matter where you start, but what matters is when you learn how to put strategies, high net worth strategies, when you learn how to analyze and research your investments, so you're earning an average annual return of this versus this, this is how you get your money to grow. Those are the strategies that you learn in our WealthyU programs. You learn how to accelerate your financial growth so that your money is working faster. The truth is that many of you are 10 feet away from goal, and you would already be millionaires. But the knowledge of how to build wealth has been hidden from you. And that's a fact. And here's something else I wanted you to know. When I came out of the investment industry, I had no idea that if you didn't have this $500,000 in assets, that you weren't getting any help, or that you were either told to fill out a questionnaire and basically they would put you in funds, and many of those funds are underperforming. So as a result, your money isn't working hard, right? And so you've had this money come through your hands. Many of you are saving. If you're saving in your 401k, in the chat, let me know. I'm investing in my 401k. I have a savings account. If you have been putting money in programs, in the chat, let me know. What are you investing in? So Nadine says, I'm investing in a 401k. What other kinds of are you investing? Frida says she's investing in her 403b. What are other I'm investing in my 401k and mutual funds, Angie says. What else? Paula says, I'm investing in my 457. Nadine says, I'm having some stocks. I'm investing in some stocks. Frida says, I'm investing in stocks. I'm investing in my 401k. I have a 403b, a 529 for a child's college, and some stocks. But here's the challenge I have for you, is that so many of you are on autopilot and you don't even know that your money's not working for you. And so that's really your assignment. Joyce says, buying business. I have a 457. I'm self-employed, Nefertari says, and I have deferred comp. So here's what I want you to, this is your assignment. Last night, I had you go find your money, where your money is going. And now I want you to figure out if your money is working for you, and are you taking advantage of your investment opportunity levers, right? So your worksheet, your homework now is to go find out what is your personal rate of return. And you find that out when you go to your account, you go to your investment, you call your advisor, and you ask them, where can I find what kind of return I have had on my investments since I've been in this plan? And here's what I know to be true, is many of you are going to be shocked. Frida says about 8%. Not bad, Frida. Okay, that's great. I'm glad you know that. I need all of you to go and find out what your personal rate of return, because that personal rate of return is impacting your ability to accelerate your financial growth to 7 figures and beyond. But the only way you're going to know how to do it is you actually learn how to analyze and research your stock. And historically, stocks have done, if we were to look at just the S&P 500 in the past 10 years, the S&P 500 has, the average annual return has been about 14%. So if you're earning 8% or 6% or lower than that, the truth is that your money is not growing. And so you've got to learn how to earn a greater rate of return, how to invest like the wealthy do so that your money can grow. And so the question I have for all of you is, what do you think the benefit is of having the knowledge of how to make your money grow faster? What is the benefit? In the chat? If you had the knowledge and insight, if you had the access to this information, if you had inherited this knowledge, where do you think you would be right now? Nadine says priceless. Will the personal rate of return include the expenses? Yes, it'll be net of that. Nefertari says you would be financially stable. You're absolutely right. Listen, if you are finally ready to get access to the knowledge that has been hidden from you, that's right, Robin, then that is why we're opening the door. And so who's ready to learn exactly how Belinda was able to accelerate her financial growth? Are you ready to learn that? Well, here's what I want you to know. We are opening. So a lot of you said you're ready to run through the door. You've been through 3 days with me. But here's what I want you to know. We're opening the doors to the WealthyU Society today. Latasha says retired. Today. And for those of you who are decisive and who are winners, I'm going to put a little fizz in the game. Okay? So here's what I want you to know. Get ready. I'm about to share with you what happens when you join this sisterhood, our WealthyU Society. We're going to open the door. Now, before I do that, though, how many of you last night said that you're going to run through these doors when it opens? Who said they're running through the door? That's what I want to know. Who's ready to run through the door and become one of a million with a million? You see, I brought receipts, right? Like, what I want you to know is that this isn't happenstance. Okay, so Frida said, I did. Nadine said, I did. Lisa said, I did. Let me see. Who else did? That's right, Lisa. I got all your names here. I'm going to see who steps up. Let's see. Is Sharon Gregory here? Because Sharon said she's going to run through the door. Latasha said she would be retired. She says, I'm going to run through the door. That's right, Jacqueline. You said you were going to run through the door. All of you said you were going to run through the door. And that put me in a situation, you guys, because one of the things I told the team I was going to do is that for those of you who joined tonight, you are going to get a one-on-one strategy session with me. Okay. And so all I'm going to say is if you join tonight, you're going to get that strategy session. I was going to limit it to 5 people, but whoever joins tonight, you're going to get a 1-hour strategy session with me. And we're going to identify what your investment opportunity levers, and you're going to be able to hit the ground running. Who is ready to run through that door and accelerate even faster than before? Who's ready to do that? Okay, so I'm going to share with you everything about our WealthyU Society program. You're invited to join us. And I'm going to go ahead and let Stephanie, my team member, and the WealthyU ambassadors, you can go ahead and put the link in the chat, okay? And I'm going to put the link in the chat, and then I'm going to share with you exactly what you're going to experience in our WealthyU Society. Our WealthyU Society is a 12-month program where you're going to learn how to analyze, optimize, maximize, and accelerate your financial growth. This is what it's designed to do. Now, within the program, you are going to achieve milestones. During this 12, the first thing you're going to learn how to do, is identify your personal wealth gap. And that is the distance between where you are right now to achieving financial independence. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to learn how to analyze, optimize what you already have. And that's what Belinda talked about. I learned how to analyze and research. I found out what they were putting me in, had fees, and wasn't necessarily performing. And that is when you're going to learn how to pull those investment opportunity levers and accelerate faster. And then once you learn what to do with what you already have, then you're going to naturally increase those investment contributions. You're going to continue to level up. And that's another aspect of being able to accelerate your financial growth. And then the next step you're going to learn is how to analyze and research those stocks. And that's when you learn how to analyze and research stocks, you can then begin to pick those diamonds in the rough and find value and accumulate shares at lower prices and use strategies that are called dollar cost averaging in WealthyU to grow your wealth in spite of the ups and downs of the market. And then you're going to learn you're going to establish a brokerage account, and you're going to diversify your portfolio. Well, how do you do that? So if you went to the link, I'm going to go over each of the programs, but I'm going to go through everything that you're going to learn. And in fact, what I think will be the easiest thing for me to do is if you all want to follow me over to, click on the link and follow me over to the offer page, and I'm going to show you exactly how the program works and all the value that you receive. So give me just a second. I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to walk through our WealthyU Society. So our WealthyU Society, can you all see my screen and the program? The WealthyU Society is our 12-month wealth accelerator. And it's designed to accelerate your financial growth and help you get further faster. You can join now. If you join today, you're going to access our challenge bonus. And I will talk a little bit about that, what that looks like in just a moment. You're going to have a 1-hour strategy session with me. But the first thing I want to do is go through everything that's included in this program. And afterwards, you can go through it on your own. All right. So the first thing you're going to learn You can, and the other thing is you can do a payment plan or you can pay in full. So all access path to the WealthyU portal. A 10-module proprietary curriculum that's based on my book, A Purse of Your Own. You get weekly skill building sessions. The first thing you're going to do is learn how to analyze and research mutual funds. Once you learn how to optimize what you already have, then you're going to attend the analyzing and researching stocks skill building session. From there, of course, the first thing you're going to learn how to do is figure out what your wealth gap is. And that's going to be through our financial, hold on, let me see if I can make this a little smaller. Okay. You're going to learn how to invest through financial apps. You're going to get access to our digital vault, and that includes our A Purse of Your Own book, our Confident Investing audio book. But here's what I want you to know is you're going to get your own member success advisor, and that member success advisor is actually your WealthyU ambassador, because she was sitting right where you were, and now it's her a role to help navigate you through this program so that if you have any questions, you get access to our quarterly WealthyU events. You do not have to pay for them. You get 12-month access to all our recordings. And if we introduce any new courses, you get the ability to access those courses too. You also get an opportunity if you want to upgrade into our other programs, you get a credit for what you have already invested. Now, here's what I want you to know is that normally this 1-hour session would only be for those who've paid in full, but tonight and tonight only, you can pay monthly or pay in full and still qualify for the 1-hour strategy session with me. So to that end, one of the things that I want to be able to do is, okay, let's put the link in the chat. I know there are already 2 spots taken, so I want to make sure we've already had people running through the door. So I want to make sure if you want to take advantage of this, that you're able to. So let me just go. I want to talk about this fast start bonus and everything that comes with it. Give me just a minute and let me just give you a sense of what the bonus training looks like. Okay, can everyone see that? So you're going to have a session with Zoom with me, and what we're going to do, you will all get a workbook. And that workbook, what it allows me to do is help you calculate what your wealth gap is, help you to identify your existing investments and identify the exact steps that you need to take, that you need to focus on so that you can start applying this information right away. So after this session with me, you're going to have a really clear idea of exactly what you need to do and what your investment opportunities levers are. The first thing you're going to do, however, is you are going to go to orientation. And orientation is not this Monday, it's the following Monday, where you will get access. You're going to, once you commit and we have your payment, whichever you decide to pay in full. is $4,997, or pay monthly is $497. So you do save $1,000. But here's what I want you to know. If you want to make sure that you're able to take advantage of the 1-hour training session, go ahead and make the commitment. And if you want to pay in full later, we're really flexible. You can do that as well. The point is, I know I only have so much capacity. And this is the other point. Typically, the one-on-one sessions are only available to those women who are in our other program. So you are getting a great value. And I want to talk about the value and why WealthyU is different than any other program that you'll ever have, or any of our competitors out there. So you do get exclusive coaching with me, because every month you'll come to strategic advisory, and that workbook where you're learning how to analyze and research your stocks, you're going to get an opportunity to be coached by me. You simply have to do the homework, as Belinda said, and show up. That's at least a $10,000 value for that insight. You have an all-access pass to our WealthyU portal, which is a 12-module curriculum based on the book, A Purse of Your Own, and you get a copy of the ebook is also included. Of course, the monthly strategic advisory sessions, you also get a monthly meet up with your member success advisors. The skill building sessions, all of the ebooks, you get access to all of our prior master classes that show you how to level up on LinkedIn, how to earn more money. We have, who did we have? Kim Coles, Telling Your Story, New York Times bestselling author. You are going to get a plethora of resources, as well as you will get access to our WealthyU events, and that is all included. So 12-month access to all of our recordings, a total value of $65,000 for $5,000. There's no other program that's going to give you the type of access to the knowledge and insight, and have the track record that we have of accelerating women's growth, their first 6 figures, their first 7 figures, and 8 figures and beyond. So I'm going to end the chat. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. I'm going to go to gallery view. And what I want to know is in the chat, if you signed up and you ran through, let me be the first to congratulate you and let you know that you are about to go next level. But the most important reason that I want to welcome you into the sisterhood is because that's why we are here. You are going to get ongoing accountability and support. You're going to be in a safe place. And the most important thing is, my goal for you, and I say this to everyone who enters our WealthyU society, is for you to be the person like Belinda that I'm interviewing, and you're saying that I learned how to take ownership of my financial success, and now I'm in the top 10% of African American wealth. I'm one of those million with a million. If that's you, let me welcome you in. So let's see, any questions? All right, let me put you in gallery view. Fantastic. Okay, So here are your next steps. So your homework, okay? Your homework is to fill out the Accelerate Your Financial Growth. You need to go into all of your, if you're employed, you need to look and all of those, at all of your different benefits and see if you're taking advantage of it. And see, the first thing I want you to do though, is to identify what your personal rate of return is. That's the first thing you need to do. Now, if you can't find it online, then you need to just reach out to one of your representatives and have them tell you how. If you have any questions, okay, if Pauline says, I'm ready to go, okay. If you have any questions, connect with your ambassador. The way to connect with your ambassador is if you're in the Savvy Challenge Facebook, just find her and click on her picture, and that way she'll be able to connect with you and have any questions. The other thing is, I introduced our flagship program. The reason we wanted you to put in an application is we want to make sure you have a good fit. So depending upon what's in your application, we want to make sure that you're in the right program that's going to accelerate your financial growth, because we have the ability to meet you where you are. The only thing that you have to do is make the commitment to come in. And I want to leave you with this, because I know for many of you, you have all kinds of degrees. How many in the chat? How many of you have bachelor's degrees? If you have a bachelor degree, put it in the chat. How many of you have MBAs? If you have an MBA, put it in the chat. How many of you might even have PhDs? You may have all kinds of certifications. And the question I have for you, that's right, my Master's of Science in Criminal Justice. How much did you invest in your college education? In the chat, let me see. How much did you, some of you have spent $40,000, $50,000, $100,000. That's right, Nadine. Some of you have spent, Latanya says a master's for approximately $60,000. And don't you think it's odd that the one thing, that's right, Shelby, the one thing that you needed to learn and you invested in, that yes, it gave you the ability to earn an income, but it didn't teach you how to turn that income into wealth. And the point that I want to make is that for a $5,000 investment for a one-year program that can, like Belinda, with $5,000 investment in the knowledge that is priceless to accelerate your financial growth, with a six-figure increase in your assets, would that be worth it? Some of the people in WealthyU have invested $5,000 and now they've doubled the amount in their retirement plan. Is an investment of $5,000 to double the amount that you have in your current investments, would that be worth it? For some of you, that $5,000 investment is going to be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so what I'm often told is, for all we offer, for all the team that we have, for all the support that we have, this is not a little course where you got to figure it out all on your own. No, we have training going on every week. There are a group of women who are learning how to analyze and research stocks. learning how to analyze and research mutual funds. We bring some of the most accomplished speakers to WealthyU to make sure that you're going to the next level, that you're always cutting edge. You also get access to my network when I'm going out and speaking for different organizations. The first thing I ask them is, can I bring my community? And so the point that I want to make to all of you is this: if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And so what I want to know from all of you, are y'all fired up? Because if you're fired up, if you're ready to go, and if you're ready to go through the door and go next level, it's absolutely time.
Fired up, ready to go. 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 I'm Edith S. Childs from Greenwood, South Carolina, and I'm the one that got Barack Obama fired up.
So I just want to close with a story that some of you know, because it shows you the importance of one voice. And it's a story about my first trip to Greenwood.
When I heard that he was coming to Greenwood, I thought, okay, I'm just going to go and welcome him to Greenwood.
Turns out that Greenwood is about an hour and a half from everywhere else.
Well, Greenwood is a little bit out of the way.
So we drive, and we drive. Finally, we get to Greenwood. We pull up to a small building.
Right here in this building, the Civic Center.
It's pouring down rain, and my umbrella blows open, and I get soaked. I'm mad, I'm wet. We go inside, and lo and behold, after an hour and a half drive, turns out there are 20 people there.
When he first came in the room, he had this grin on his face, like maybe I'm in the wrong place. You know, it was a small group of people.
20 people. And they all look kind of damp and kind of sleepy, like maybe they aren't really excited to be there either.
And looking around at everyone in the room, I knew we had to do something.
Suddenly, I hear this voice cry out behind me, "Fired up!" And I'm shocked.
I know that the senator wasn't sure what was going on because he had that look on his face.
So I look behind me, and there's this small woman. Looks like she just came from church. She's got a big church hat. And she's standing there, and she looks at me, and she's smiling. And she says,
"Fired up, ready to go." I knew we needed to keep saying, "Fired up, ready to go."
And so for the next 5 minutes, she proceeds to do this. Fired up. And everybody says fired up and ready to go. And everybody says ready to go. And I'm standing there and I'm thinking, she's stealing my thunder. I look at my staff, they shrug their shoulders. They don't know how long this is going to go. But here's the thing, Virginia. After a minute or so, I'm feeling kind of fired up. I'm feeling like I'm ready to go. So I join in the chant. And it feels good. And for the rest of the day, even after we left Greenwood, I'd see my staff. I'd say, "Are you fired up?" They'd say, "We're fired up, boss. Are you ready to go?" I'd say, "I'm ready to go."
Once you hear it, you will never forget it.
So some people start putting "fired up, ready to go" on their shirts. Some people start putting "fired up, ready to go" on signs. Everybody's saying "fired up" and "ready to go."
Fired up, ready to go.
It shows you what one voice can do. One voice can change a room. And if a voice can change a room, it can change a city. And if it can change a city, it can change a state. And if it can change a state, it can change a nation. And if it can change a nation, it can change the world. Your voice can change the world. So I just got one question for you. Are you fired up? Are you ready to go? Fired up. Ready to go. 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 Fired up. Let's go change the world.
Ladies, let's go change the world. You have everything you need to be everything you need to be. Now it's time for you to get fired up, ready to go, and to become one of a million with a million. If you're ready, we're ready to lock arms with you and give you everything that you need so that you can level up and accelerate your financial growth. I hope you've enjoyed the third day of our 5-day Savvy Money Makeover Challenge. I hope that I know many of you are already leaning in. We'll put our welcome post for those of you who have leaned in and run through that door. I tell you, your life's about to change and it will never be the same. But most importantly, I want you to know how grateful we are for the investment that you're making in yourself and in us, and we don't take that lightly. So fired up, ready to go. We'll see you right back here tomorrow at 8 o'clock, and I can't wait to have my one-on-one sessions with all of you. Make sure you connect with your ambassadors if you have any questions, because that's why we're here for you. All right, see you right back here tomorrow at 8 o'clock.